Right, this hopefully will be a quick demo on how to actually print new production RFID tags using the Brady high memory RFID system. Bit of a mouthful. These are tags for the commercial aerospace industry. The ones I have in here today are metal mount tags. So they have a little ground plane on the back. They're thicker in nature. They can't be used in all printers. In fact, Brady sells only a Datamax and SATO printer. The Datamax is actually now legacy unit. I have one in front of me, however, and that's what I'm using today. So you can't buy the stock Datamax and SATO printers either. It has custom firmware that's used by Brady to make all of this magic happen. But in the end, our goal here is to print and encode the chip simultaneously and then verify this. The end result when ID Integration does an installation at a customer site is we leave the customer with a desktop looking somewhat like this, and we might do it on the taskbar, but for procedural purposes anyway, I'll simplify it here in this video by, on the right-hand side, having a bunch of desktop icons called Step 1, Print, Step 2, Verify, Step 3, Report. And there's a report for the chip and a report for the barcode that you may or may not print on that tag as well. And the way that we have evolved in how we do these templates is we don't do a unique template for each part number. What we have found is that each company may make a series of parts that are all within the same kind of family, and they may want to tag more than one. So rather than creating multiple templates, we have gone to a system where we create a text file that you can manage yourself. You can add your own part numbers, you can delete things, but you've got this external text file that you can put in part number, description, and if there are any other things that you know that you would want to include, like revision or mod code or hazmat material, that could be done as well. But in its most basic form, this text file is simply a tab delimited part number description kind of file. Okay, so we further simplify this by not using the Bartender software application that we use to create these templates. We actually provide a link in this step 1 to a utility that comes with the Bartender suite called PrintStation. And PrintStation is set up, we set it up so that it goes straight to a targeted folder where we have the templates that you would use. Now, most customers are going to pick only one size because that's the size that fits that product line. I'm showing all three here. We have the small, the medium, and the large. And I'm going to try to do the large here. So this is not the Bartender interface. This is PrintStation interface, and this is a print-only environment. So there's no way the user can actually inadvertently change or alter the design, and that's a good thing for everybody. Okay, so you can simply go ahead and hit print. It'll present the user with a form, and that form is fairly simplified. Here is the part number selection menu that is created from this external file. So it references this external file, and you get to pick whichever part you want, and as you do, the preview on the right-hand side will change. Then there are probably 98% of all the tag data fields are known. They are defaults. They are the cage code for your company. They are maybe an export code number for your product line, and so forth. The things that are variable are shown in this form. So let's say, for example, it's a starting serial number. So if I wanted to go ahead and put a serial number here, you'll see that it gets updated in the preview screen. Revision or mod, you can take that off and the whole rev section should disappear as well. Sorry, I'm using the wrong keyboard here. There you go. You can do manufacturing date in the future, in the past, whatever you need to. There's a flyout that you can use to prevent yourself from picking a invalid date. You can go back in time, but it will default to today's date, and then you can change it from there if you wish. And if you want to create more than one serialized tag, the default here is to set up serial number to increment by 1. So you can hit print quantity and change it to 3 or 4, and you'll get that many tags with the incrementing serial number each time. Okay? But remember, you can only pick one part number at a time because the serial numbers have to be unique. So that's what we do. Now, there is an admin checkbox here too, but you shouldn't have to check that. This hides a much more complicated menu. So if you're day in, day out, fill out the form up here, select your part number, hit next. This now should come up and indicate that, yes, I'm sending it down. You'll see an RFID active on the screen for the printer itself. And this page will pop back up waiting for you to do the next tag if you wish. Otherwise, you can just hit cancel. We're going to hit cancel. And as we wait, I'm doing this via USB, so it's rather slow in comparison to Ethernet. And out comes our tag. We have a spacer piece and we have a tag, right? The spacer piece has some printed information for the chips, EPC, hex string, and also the birth record in ASCII format. So you don't have to have a reader to figure out what's in the birth record for this tag. But when you're done, you can just rip the whole thing off, put it on your part. You don't need to keep this. You can keep it as a production record if you want. All right, so now the next step, after we've created it, is to verify. So I'll double click this. And again, you can see that we're going from left to right in the icons that we put in the system tray as well. And I believe I'm COM3 here, so I'll hit connect. And if it does connect correctly, right underneath you'll see a serial number that should match the sticker on your TSL reader. So I'll pull this out of the way here a little bit. See if I can make that a little bit smaller. All right, now we'll fit it in. All right, so now I have to take my reader and I can stick it right up on here, or I can take the thing off and put it down and just put it right on top. And I'm just gonna try to read it right here. So as we pull the trigger on the reader, or we click on find, it doesn't matter which you do, okay? It will identify the EPC of the tag right under it. And this is in a different format. It's not raw hex, obviously. This isn't what they call the URN format, but it's the filter code, cage code, then part number. In this case, it's construct 1, so there is no part number listed in the EPC, so it's ... And then the serial number, right? So we'll click on that, and we get our EPC record here. And then we can hit read and validate. And we'll see if it does it correctly. Oops. Now this can take quite a while. And I may pause if I can, if I have another free hand here. Otherwise, we will just talk through a few things while we're going through it. This is checking each and every word in the tag. And for high memory tags, that's 4,096 words. It's checking to see, are you locked or should you be locked? There's some that should be open all the time, some that should be locked. And so without doing this step, you really aren't completely identifying whether you are compliant to the spec. So I highly recommend doing it. Although there is a toggle that you can do if you want to just get this done in 15 seconds as opposed to a minute and a half. I can show you quickly how to do that as well. Okay. When it gets done to being close to being done here, this tag does not have a barcode, so I'm not going to go through that process. There is a separate validation process you can do. It looks like I kind of, yeah. Condition code is not supposed to exist in a high memory tag. There is an argument afoot right now in the industry that says maybe that's okay. So we could go back and recreate the tag, removing that as a default value, or we could accept this and get a waiver. Either way, you're looking for a green and a green. Here I have an indication of my overall tag size. And this customer required to use 75% of the overall tag size. So this verifies that that step has been completed properly. Here is an indication of the chip that's being used, the manufacturer, right? And you can go through the other records here. There's a birth record, and here's the data for the birth record. Everything is fine there. Scratch record is empty. Current data record has this one issue. And again, that's something that has to be debated within each company, whether or not they're going to allow that or not. Okay, so when you're done and you're happy with this, you can go ahead and click on Verify. And by doing so, you're going to create an additional row in a pre-existing comma-separated variable file. And that is really your report. It's kind of messy, but that's how you document your results. And you can see those results by going over here on the right side again and clicking Step 3 Report. And you can see that this last one was done right now, right? And all of these lines, these are really, it's a very messy thing, but you can actually take this whole thing and copy and paste it or import it into Excel. However you wish to do this, this is what Brady has for a reporting schema at this point. And getting access to it is as simple as clicking on that link. There's a separate CSV file for barcode verification. I guess I can see if there's anything there. It has a slightly different header set, but it's the same concept. Every time you do a new verification on it, it'll add a new line and keep going. Some of the advantages of this is that you don't end up having hundreds and hundreds of verification reports. You have one file. So that's a little bit easier to manage, but I would agree it's a little bit harder to export to customers. Okay, so that's your process. You have, again, a step 1 for printing, step 2 for verifying, and a step 3 for sending the report somewhere else. If it says verify in your world and you don't need to send it off to someone else, step 3 doesn't even need to be looked at. You can just hit verify in the program and it'll create a record. And if the day comes where you say, I need to create a new part number, you can simply go into this and create a brand new part number. Right in the file, I'll do, 1234 dash whatever. And then tab delimited, and we'll say new part, whatever it's called, okay? Save it, and then the next time you come up, it'll actually show that, that change as well.